Hello and welcome. My name's Dave Wooler, and today I'd like to take a few minutes to walk you through the steps on how to create ambient beams of light in your images. Now, folks that have followed me in the past know that I've done a tutorial on how to create rays of light, which are great for coming through clouds or trees and stuff like that. The difference in this particular step is we take a specific point source of light. It could be a spotlight at a show, it could be a lighthouse, the lights from a car, anything with a point source of light where we can create that ambient source that falls onto our subject. So let's take a few examples and show you just how this particular process can change your image quite a bit. This particular black and white image with the vase and the flowers is nice the way it is, but I thought, gee, it would be neat if there were a source of light up at the top and the light were falling down onto that vase. So using the process that we're going to do, we come up with this particular image. I think it's quite a bit of an improvement myself. Everyone has their own taste, but it's kind of neat to be able to play with this kind of stuff. Another image where this technique could be used is an image like this with the covered bridge from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. The slits in the top of the bridge would let the light spill down through onto the floor of the covered bridge. Very easy to do. This one has several of the same process in the same image. Finally, we have an image from Fort Delaware. There was this dark hallway that I was going through, and there were lights in the ceiling, and I created the image and put in this little beam of light, so as if there were some dirt in the air that were reflecting the light, the beam of light that came down and fell onto the floor. It adds quite a bit to the image, in my opinion. So let's take an image and work our way through the process and see how it goes. This is an image from Batstow here in South Jersey, Batstow Village, and it's a nice kitchen scene with a nice window, and I thought it would be nice if we had a beam of light that came down and just spilled across this table. So we're going to use this image for the process and take it step by step and go right on through. I would like to say that I normally have my work panels over on a second monitor, so if I fumble around a little bit, please forgive me. I'll do the best I can with this. And it's been a while since I've done this, so I may have to stop and think for just a second. Please excuse me. But it's a fairly easy process, and it should be easy to get through this. So to get started, the first thing we're going to do, obviously, is we're going to go Control-J to create a second layer. Okay, so now we have our second layer. Now you need to do all of your adjustments, your contrast, your brightness and sharpness and all that stuff before you get into the ambient beam of light layer. And we're going to put that beam of light layer, a separate layer, so that we can control that separately and do what we want with that without affecting the rest of the image. So that's going to be on its own layer. But you need to do all of your adjustments to your base image before you get started with the beam of light. So here we go, and let's create that second layer, third layer in this case, to put our beam of light on. We're going to come over here to the bottom of the palette, the layers palette, and you see this little box looks like a little folder. You click on that, and it creates a new layer up on top, which is a blank layer with nothing in it. So this is where we're going to put our beam of light. Let's get started. We're going to come over here to the Polygon Lasso tool. We'll click on the Polygon Lasso tool, and we're now going to define where this light is going to spill onto this table. We're going to come up to the top corner of this window, click there, and then drag, click down here. You don't have to be real specific with this. Keep clicking as you work your way around, and you're just defining basically where this beam of light is going to go. Come off the image, come back up to the top, and we're going to come back across the top of the window and close that out. And now we have a selection. Now we've defined where this beam of light is going to go. So now we need to fill that. So we're going to come over to Edit, and we're going to come down to Fill, and we're going to select Color. When you select color, you'll get this window that shows a palette of all the colors that you can use. Now, you can choose a warm color, a cool color. You can choose a specific color to match whatever it is you're doing in your image. The choice is yours. I felt that in this particular image, the beam of light coming through that window would be a nice, cool, light blue. So that's why I've selected this color up here. We're going to click OK here to select that color, and come over here, click OK again, and that fills that area with that light blue color. Now that looks pretty horrible, so we need to work on this to get it straightened out. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come up here to Filter. We're going to come down to Blur, and we're going to use a box blur. Blur and box blur. When you click on that, a new window will open here, and you see if you slide this bottom slider to the left, you get right back to where we were. As you slide that to the right, the edges soften up a bit. Okay, but at the same time, we're keeping a little bit of solid color in the middle. And we kind of want that because we want that to be fading off to the edges as it goes. So somewhere in this area, and you'll be able to adjust this as we go along. You'll see how the process takes care of all this other part. So I kind of like it right there. We're going to click OK. And then we're going to come up here. Since we have this now all filled, we're going to come up to Select and Deselect. Okay, so now we've deselected that marching ants and gotten rid of those, and we have the color in here. You can come over to your layers palette, you can click on the fill, and you can take the opacity of that down to wherever you want it. But we've still got that hard edge. So I'm going to keep this up fairly strong. I've dropped it down to about 80%. And what we're going to do is come back over here to Filter once again. Come down to Blur once again, but this time we're going to use Gaussian Blur. Okay, when you hit the Gaussian Blur, I'll slide this slider all the way over to the left so you can see you've got that hard edge, and that's what we're trying to get rid of. As you slide this over, that edge will soften up, and you can put that to wherever you want it. Now we're getting closer to what we're really after on this image. So if you like it there, and you notice that we still have a little bit solid here in the middle, but it flows off as you go out to the edges. So if we get it where we like it, we're going to click OK. Now that's not bad where it is. And once again, you can come up here to your fill and use your opacity to change that to whatever you want. And that's pretty good right there. However, we can go one more, or actually two more steps that will make this really, really jump out at you and really make it over the top. So once again, we'll get this layer just as nice as we want it, a little bit stronger. And the next thing we're going to do is come down here and we're going to create a layer mask. This little white box with the black circle in it, click on that and you'll see it puts a layer mask up there. Now we need this to do what we're going to do next. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our tool palette and we're going to choose a gradient tool. Now on the gradient tool up here, you have all these different selections. You want the one here that's black to white or black to clear. I'm choosing the black to white for this particular image. That'll put that up here in the top. You want to come over to where it says reverse. Make sure that that box is checked where it says reverse. Okay. Once we have that reverse box checked, we can now come over here, and since we have the gradient tool selected, we'll start up here at the top and drag, click and drag, and you can take this way down off of the image, and you'll have to play with it and decide how far you want to go on your own personal image. And I'll show you. I'll go back a step. Now see, when I release that, it fades that off. That's because of the gradient is making a mask. If you look up here, the mask is hiding that beam of light down here towards the bottom. And it kind of looks more natural to me. It just really works well. And you can come back in, use your opacity or your fill to make it stronger or weaker. And that's basically the whole process. The amount that you drag that gradient tool down from the top to the bottom will depend on how quickly or how slowly that fades away into nothing. So you'll have to play with that as you go along and work with it. I know it seems like I've said an awful lot here and there have been a lot of steps, but it's really not that bad. Watch the video a couple of times and it'll just really flow to you. It's an easy process. I hope that what I've shown you here today helps you with some of your images and is of some use to you. I enjoy doing them. It's fun. At my age, I stumble around sometimes. I apologize for that when I'm trying to teach. But we get there, and hopefully this is something that you can use. So I appreciate you stopping by. If you'd like to see some more of my work, www.davidwooler.com is my website. And love to have you go there and browse some of the images. Again, ambient beams of light, a fairly easy process. Once you get into it, you can experiment with a lot of different, how much you drag, how much opacity, lots of ways that you can change things around. But a useful tool, a useful technique that you can use in your own images. Thanks again for stopping by. I'm David Wooler, and take care. Be creative all the time. Thank you.